Hello, hello, hello. Hello, my hopeMORE family. I need y'all to come on. I know it's Thursday, right? It's not hump day. It's not some special holiday, but we're really approaching a great weekend. So I have something for you. This is a special Thursday edition of hopeMORE. So I need you to click on, like, share. Make sure you share this to your page or with your friends on their Facebook page. Make sure you follow the rules. And if you're on YouTube, I want you to just go onto my hopeMORE channel. That's small case HOPE, uppercase MORE channel. That's on YouTube. Subscribe and like. Make sure you click the bell so you can know when we're coming on, especially like on special days like this, because really we are like a hope day people. We do Wednesdays because we don't do humps, we do hopes. But today I have a special guest that has a little word, I think, to encourage the brothers. Come on, say the brothers. So if you're a brother, I need you to watch this. And if you are a woman who has a sister, if you're a woman who has a husband or a brother in a relationship, or, it doesn't even matter, a man that you know could probably be encouraged with some or get some help. Yes, come on now. With his whole game when it comes to women, I want you to share, because this is about LoveMORE Her. Can we say that? LoveMORE Her. So I'm going to go take my phone right now and this is not just song. Okay, this is Adele, so we're going to rock out to it. I do not have rights to this song. But we're going to talk about loving her. LoveMORE Her. Okay, that is so funny. If any of y'all know, that was Adele, rumor has it. And yeah, that's not the song. I was trying to play My Girl. What happened? So I need y'all to come on, click. When you click like and come on, then it's sort of like you are giving my client, my guest, the one who sacrificed their time to be in here, like applause. Here we go. Come on. Come on, y'all. Get in the mood. It's about loving her. Come on. Any of y'all got a woman to love this Valentine's Day? Oh, no, your Heyward's looking in. And I know who Sudi is. Thank you, Sudi. Okay, so I do not own the rights to My Girl, okay? But thank you guys for joining in. So I have someone who I only know through the fact that I have got to experience the love of his life. And I'm like, somebody is loving you good. So, and she appeared on my show last year and gave a wonderful testimony just about being engaged in life. And it was around the time that she had just gotten engaged to be married. But she has a wonderful testimony, and we'll probably inevitably talk about her a little bit. But I talked to the man of her life, and I was like, I gotta have you on soon. He's like, yeah, call me up. So how about I called him up, and he is here. He is here. I want all of my hopeMORE family to get your phones out, share. Make sure I have to share mine now. That you come on, and give a round of applause to Mr. Nicholas Heyward, aka Nick Heyward. Hey, sir.
Whoa. How are you today?
I am good. How are you?
All is well. No complaints. Good day.
What's really crazy, y'all, this is how this man is like. He keeps his word. And he could have so said, Hope, I can't do this. This man has just moved, but we'll talk about it. So, Mr. Heyward, could you just tell my audience a little bit about yourself? You don't have to give any identification kind of information, but just tell them a little bit about yourself.
All right. My name is Nick Heyward. I'm originally from South Carolina and recently returned to South Carolina within the last 24 hours. I'm an author. I have a book of affirmations called The Push Project. It's been on the market for about a year now. engaged and looking forward to being married in October. All around hometown guy.
Yes, you returned to South Carolina. So you grew up in South Carolina.
Yes. I grew up in Hampton, South Carolina, and after many years away, I've returned home. Well, returned to South Carolina in Summerville.
Wow, you know what? A lot of people are coming home. I mean, I'm in my hometown. It's not as cool as where you are right now. But because my parents or just whatever, a lot of millennials have gone home. COVID has drove a lot of people home. But
Yes,
look at you. What brought you back to South Carolina?
I have a new opportunity for work, and also my fiance lives here in South Carolina. So this brings us a little closer together and makes this upcoming marriage and the ministry that we do together a lot easier to perform with us both being in the same state.
Well, I hope Sudi is your fiance because someone's trying to flirt with you right now, telling you, hey there, handsome.
Yes, that's Sudi. Sudi Joe, as I call her. Yes.
Hey, Cynthia. Hello. Thank you all for joining. So, wow. So we're coming up to Valentine's Day. You know, a lot of people make a big deal out of Valentine's Day in the sense of if they're not in a relationship or if they are in a relationship, they sometimes feel stressed. So let me just say, I'm sort of using the fact that we're upon Valentine's Day to talk about how we can love each other more. But
Right.
This is not just to sort of like put it in anybody's face if you're not in a relationship or anything like that. But we just want to like celebrate, right? Loving fearlessly and loving a partner fearlessly. And I use that word sort of loosely because I know everybody in a relationship is not necessarily in a partnership, but I was trying to give a one, I'll just maybe keep it how to love your woman. But I think love is so beautiful, and the love that brings two people together, whether you are dating or, courting for marriage, or like you found the one, or you've been married, like that is something to celebrate. So I don't want anybody to check out. If you're not in a relationship, listen, because you find some things that'll help you out. And if you are in a relationship, listen, because you may hear some things that'll help you out. So Nick, tell us a little bit about your woman, Sudi, and how you guys got engaged or connected.
Okay. The ironic thing, we have to sort of tell the backstory for the story to make sense. We both are from Hampton County, and we graduated high school the same year. We're the same age. Never remembered each other, really. Sudi worked at my favorite restaurant, Pizza Hut. So she's made my lunch, I'm sure. She's probably served the meal to me, and just never saw one another. Our classes, went on a reunion trip, boat cruise, same day, same time. So there were many opportunities where we could have been in the same spot with one another, but had no idea.
Oh man, sliding glass doors. That is so exciting. So you both lived and graduated high school in Hampton County, South Carolina.
That's
and
right.
Put down, because I love small towns, but it's a small place. It's not like you guys both went to New York.
No.
How many high schools were there?
Oh wow, there's like two. There's Wade Hampton, and then there's Estill. So my high school and hers.
Like the idea that you guys, I guess when we get to heaven and God shows our life, hopefully you guys will get a situation where you get to see where you were at the time. So gosh, and you graduated high school, do you mind telling how long ago?
Oh, we graduated in 97.
97. Okay, so like 24 years ago, the love of your life was just, y'all were skating past each other. So how is it that these two people who never met each other but sort of ran in similar circles end up getting engaged and meeting during COVID when most people are like, this is not the time to like try to hook up with people?
Right. We were both members of a group on Facebook for Christian singles. And we had engaged in dialogue once or twice. I made a comment on something, and then Sudi responded. And I remember thinking, like, Seneca, South Carolina, and how does she know Hampton County and I not know who this is? And I paid it no attention. Then fast forward, I had a 40th birthday, and my classmate, who is also her first cousin, came to my 40th birthday party. And she said, I have somebody that you should meet. And you kind of know each other because we're in this group together, but you've never really, said much. And I said, okay, cool. And when she told me who it was, I was like, I remember a vague conversation, but, no big, I don't know. So we exchanged numbers shortly thereafter, and the rest has been history. It's like literally from the first conversation, we connected. We're a little older. We're over 40, so we know what we want in life. We know what we want in our partners, and we're on the same page. We crossed off a lot of boxes, and it's just been full steam ahead ever since.
It is a small world. It is a small world. I'm telling you guys, when I heard Sudi tell this story, and you guys got a pretty good pattern. Sometimes you ask one and it's like, oh, I didn't see her. And, the other one says, oh, yeah, he was in love with me the first time he saw me in high school. You're like, y'all need to get your stories together. Your stories are very, very much similar. But I was just like, you know what? I learned 2 lessons from this story, right?
Okay.
I learned that it is great to comment on guys' post that's not like necessarily you throwing yourself out there, but like you were interested in something that person said. So go ahead and say hello. And then also the beauty of maybe meeting someone that you don't know, but being confirmed through someone you do know that this person is legitimate. I was like, because at the time you were living in Texas, right?
Yeah, Houston. Yes.
Houston, Texas, and she was in South Carolina, and you had a reunion in her first. I'm just like, Lord, okay, can't nobody do it but Jesus. So I'm gonna encourage you guys, like, don't poo-poo on Facebook groups and online just discussion groups. You don't have to spend a lot of money on Plenty of Fish. I don't know all the things. I'm not trying to act like I ain't never been on them, but I'm saying you don't have to do that. You can make a presence, even if it's just, hey, that was cool, or hey, you're from so-and-so. It's like, that's not, or am I wrong? That's not really a woman sort of like throwing herself at anybody, right? That's just a person making themselves friendly, I'm thinking.
That's it. It's general conversation. You're in a group with like-minded individuals, and therefore there's topics or conversations that you should have similar interests about. So it's harmless conversation back and forth, and who knows what can happen. But a part of this that right before Lent, the season of Lent that year, I said to about 4 or 5 of my friends, one of the things that I want to do is I'm praying for God to help me make some changes in my life, but also I either want God to make me the man that I need to be, that my wife can find me and I can find her, or prepare my heart to be single. And I said this to about 5 of my friends. I said, this is what we're going to be praying about. Be in prayer with me. And that was then, and we met shortly thereafter.
Okay, Nick. So for those who may not understand Lent, especially if you didn't grow up Catholic, doesn't that start like on Fat Tuesday or something?
Ash Wednesday.
Ash Wednesday. Isn't next week what, Ash Wednesday?
We're back. We're almost at our 1-year anniversary, right?
So you guys come close. Look at me. Where's my camera? Look at me. Now the man of God has shown you a pattern that has worked. Oh, do you feel it? Work for him. You need to think about this coming Wednesday. Woo! Lent is a time that we observe the sacrifice of Jesus, and I believe it's from there to Easter.
That's right.
Or is it Good Friday? So I don't know what you guys do. Lay aside, lay aside some, maybe television, maybe those stupid reality shows that really don't have no love, like Love and Hip Hop. I don't know what you need to do. I'm being it like right now. I'm just like, Lord, is that what it takes? I need a Lent season. Lent season. Everyone say Lent season. Yes, Lent season. So you like, I need a change. Either God bless me to be single and satisfied, or bring her on and make me ready. Wow. So, gosh, there's so much there. I could spend the next hour talking just about how miraculous your coming together was. And I did get a chance to see your engagement. And I kept laughing at Sudi, like, why are you like, I said here while you're like so excited.
So it's on camera that she abuses me and she hits me. So you witnessed that.
Yes, yes. I was like, see, that's when you're trying to play. You're trying to keep yourself together. So, and I noticed that sometimes I could be like, I hate you so much. It's like, if I tell you I hate you so much, I totally love you. But maybe I'm like, you caught me off guard,
Right.
or, you know, or you do something to show me that you know who I am. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, ooh. Sudi's like, what? What? What you mean, what? Come on, sis. No, but that's okay. You're in a good place. God had changed his heart. So, Nick, you are a man of prayer.
Yes. Yes.
That's
Definitely.
awesome. And I think it's important for everybody to know that they're both are believers. And they were believers before they met up. God
Oh yeah.
had him doing his thing. She was doing her thing. Like you heard them say, they're both over 40.
Yeah.
Hey, men. So I'm going to probably skip and come back to some of that because I just want to be nosy and all those kind of things.
Sure.
So you connect with your homegirl that you didn't even know.
Mm-hmm.
I think your future sister-in-law is crying laughing.
Yes.
That you didn't even know. And what, gosh, I can start anywhere. So you're in Texas, she's in South Carolina.
Yes.
What were some of the, maybe first, what are some of the things before you guys even decided to be in a relationship
Mm-hmm.
that you did to express love or care towards her? And even as a man of God, a single man of God, how
Right.
did you approach this? Because us single girls and people that we meet,
Well,
people that we meet, sort of like sometimes I'm like, oh, hey man, he's a pastor preacher, and then I'm getting these interesting anatomy pictures, if you know what I mean. So
yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
it's even more sort of tricky, you know, when you meet someone online and you don't yet have an opportunity to get them to know them in person. How did
Right.
you start showing her love and care?
It's all about the time spent and time invested. So I work a lot, and so does Sudi, but I made time for her daily. We'd have conversations, and they would go on for hours during the day. Lots of text back and forth, and every evening it was phone call and a conversation. I'm not big on FaceTime, but I sacrifice and I endure FaceTime with Sudi from time to time because it gives us the opportunity while we're not, in the same spot to just see one another and make it a little more real and bring it together. But the biggest part of it was time, devoting time, and time is important to me. Please don't waste my time. And we had that understanding very early as well. I'm serious about this. This is what I'm looking to build. This marriage is the end goal. And if this isn't what you're trying to do, let's just not waste each other's time with that. So we made it very clear.
Okay, so one of the ways you showed love to her was also being careful about wasting her time, or
That's
that
it.
you guys would spend time to get to know each other. And
Right.
then even in a way that you're not the most comfortable with, like, oh, but if it's going to help us communicate, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
going to get on FaceTime. And it's so funny because I'm like sort of the opposite. That
Okay.
I need a call before the FaceTime because I may not be already together.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, well, you know what? If this person is potentially who I'll spend the rest of my life with, I guess like you need to keep it as real as possible. Just be considerate. Like, don't
Yeah.
always be busted. But I'm always like thinking, I'm getting used to it now. Like, okay, it's
Yeah.
FaceTime. Even my nephew calls FaceTime. He never calls regular. And sometimes I have the phone up on the ceiling, like,
Right.
Auntie
Yeah.
hasn't gotten up yet, baby. But FaceTime is another level of, personal communication
It
because
really
so
is.
much of communication is nonverbal. Let
Exactly.
me ask you, did you guys sometimes watch TV and be on FaceTime? You're not watching each other, but you take a few glimpses. Are you watching the same show? Did y'all do that kind of stuff?
We've never done that, but we had a few movies on Amazon Prime that one of us would see and say, "Oh, you need to check this out." Then that would be the conversation that night. We talk about the movie and what we enjoyed about it, but we've never done the watching TV together. But we drive together a lot, of course, because we're in the car a lot.
Oh,
So we're on FaceTime and we're chit-chatting back and forth and sitting in traffic. Not staring at the phone, but staring at where we're going, but we're still you can still see one another and have a good dialogue.
I'm seeing here, Sudi said that she did not abuse you with that engagement. And
You
Nadia
are.
gave
You
her a
are.
second.
Oh, now my mother's co-signing with her. See?
Yes, she's like, I'm loving that already. You know, I'm gonna take a quick venture. So Nadia Heyward, am I saying it right? Is your mother?
Nona Heyward,
I
yes.
I used to say, like, I have like these 5 things I'm looking for in a mate.
Right,
Now it's the 4 things and all this stuff. But one was like you had to love your mother.
right.
Could you share with us when it comes to loving Sudi or loving women, like your sisters, cousins, women in general?
Yes,
How did your relationship with your mother and maybe the model way to love and respect women?
yes.
How was that sort of modeled out with you with your mom?
Okay. My mom was a single parent. So we grew up and it was just the two of us. And what I learned early on is that manners and respect will take you places that money never will. I saw my mom work hard every day. I saw my mom sacrifice so that I could have things, but I also saw my mom demand a level of respect from everyone around her. And I always said, in anyone that I dated, they had to do the same thing. And it's not telling people you will respect me, but it's moving in a way that people understand that's not someone for me to play with sideways or, try things like that, because this person is about their business. So the
Yeah.
things that I saw in my mom, I also see in Sudi. And it's funny, when we got engaged, people thought that Sudi was like a family member of mine. They're like, "Oh, who's that? Which one of your cousins is that?" I'm like, "That's not my cousin. That's my fiance," because she looked so much like my mom and my aunt.
Your love story is stirring people. Brandy Turner says, "Oh, y'all make me cry. So sweet." And I'm not gonna get deep into it because Sudi, if you have not seen it, I will post it under here. You have to see Sudi talking about getting engaged, and it's really about being engaged in life. And she shared how the Lord took her through a process from a very traumatic first marriage,
Yeah,
and I didn't even know she was going to go there, but it just blessed so many people. And not to
right,
necessarily get in your business, but I always say it's so beautiful to see how God will take broken pieces and brokenness,
yeah,
make you whole, and then I don't know if it's to deliver you or you receive. It's like you becoming single, whole, one.
right,
Then God is like able to bring you someone in. And I know some people who may have been through similar circumstances, and it's not their singleness that's a detriment, but maybe they desire love, but they're still so broken. And I
right,
was just wondering, and I hope this is not going
right.
over the edge. Did you find as you love on in that relationship that there were ways that you wanted to make sure you protected her heart, especially
Always,
knowing that
always.
this was a big step, and maybe you also had some experience that for you too was like, we can heal together.
Well, we both went through times, I would say, in our past where we struggled with self-worth and self-value. So
Mm.
when I met Sudi, and early on in our relationship, I also worked at my church in Houston as well. So one day I'm at church and we're having a conversation just about life, and I wanted to be sure that she understood the broken man that I was and the things I had gone through in my past, and it was something that we could build on and grow together. So we had a conversation about our past and failed relationships and just shortcomings, and that's the day that we decided to make our relationship official. So I went to the altar at my church while she was on speakerphone, and we prayed together. And the one thing that I said is, we may not have it all together, but together we can have it all. And I just know within myself that coming together with Sudi, there's a ministry that we have together that's going to bless the world as we love one another and we grow more and more together. Because I too am divorced. I've been married before. It wasn't successful. It didn't last very long. But to meet someone as an adult, as a grown man, as I like to think of myself, and say, "Hey, I've had shortcomings. I can't do it all, and I don't have it all together, but I have faith, and I know what I feel
Yeah.
when we're together. So let's come together and make this thing happen." So I shelter her because I always want her to understand that even if we disagree, there's a way to disagree that there's still respect and there's still love. There can always be correction, but correction goes a lot further when it's laced with love. Because correct me when I'm wrong, but let me also feel your love and see your love in the midst of what's going on. So, for example, Sudi likes to tell me that coming from a background of management, I mean what I say what I mean, and that's kind of it. So she's like, "Oh, you're so direct and you're so blunt." But I've learned now how to say those things in a way to where it's understood that this is done in love, and I'm just seeking to understand. So always do my best to protect her heart. Always do my best to show her that she means the world to me and she's number one in my book with what I have going on. Always include her and make time for her. And when there are times when I need space, I'm transparent enough to say, hey, I just need a minute. I'm going to take a ride, open the sunroof, listen to some music, whatever. But just, we're open. There's no room for doubt. There's no gray area. It's black and white. You know what's going on. I know what's going on. But I also know where your heart lies, and she knows where my heart lies.
Oh man, Nick, this is so rich. So many things. The fact that it was solidified in your heart that you all were to be together,
Right.
in the midst of you being vulnerable about how undone you are and how not perfect, but then you both went to God in prayer together. That is so beautiful. Because I'm also on a bunch of Facebook groups like Pursuit, I think it's Christian Black singles and professionals. And sometimes there's like people like, well, I went out with a guy, it was really great. He walked me to the car, but he drove off and left before I pulled out. Should I give him a second date? Or like it's all these, like, the guy asked me out Tuesday for a date on Saturday night. He didn't call me back till Sunday to Saturday morning. Should I go out, or was that disrespectful? Like all these things, like, okay, you just gonna cut it? Like maybe it's just that person was busy, but
right.
They're still not late on what they promised, and maybe that guy had to hurry up go home. But I was like, why can't you just communicate? Like, yo, man, like you need to stick around before I drive out. What if something happened? And so the fact that you guys knew in your heart that you wanted to be together at the time of talking about brokenness. So at the point of where you're showing your cars like this right here, it needs work, versus like, oh, he was so cute and he smelled so good and he drove in a car and he was like this, and this, and that's when I knew he was the one. I heard someone describe that I really, really admire. Love is seeing everything about that person, including their faults, and choosing to love them anyway. And I was like, I like that. I mean, that's what Corinthians, or is it 1st or 2nd Corinthians 13 talks about.
Right.
But yeah. Oh my gosh, Brandy, so happy for you. You seem like a great guy. I don't even know you, but I'm so happy for you while listening to this.
Thank you.
Yes, Brandy is a beautiful, dear person. These kind of things encourage us. And God, this is so much. But, I work in ministry. I'm a minister, preacher's kid, helping my parents with their churches, worked in other churches in leadership. I know Sudi works in leadership, praying. And if you've at all been, single looking, we know that all Christians are not alike. Or let's say this, all of us are not perfect, right? But then sometimes people project a level of maturity about Christ, and then you started like tiptoeing, you're like, oh no, like you're always like, oh, this is great, check off, check off, check off, check off, and then you're like, oh my goodness, what's this craziness? And I know often, especially Black women, we often, oh, woe is us, the numbers are so not in our favor. I have a lot of Christian guy friends who are like, a lot of Christian Black guy friends like, hope it's not as easy as you think to find a woman of God who you're also attracted to, who also just doesn't want to just go to church all the time, who wants to have fun. What was your, how would you describe your journey in the time before coming, or before being attached to Sudi, that led you to that prayer? What and how was your journey in, I wouldn't say dating, but checking people out, talking to them?
Yeah, it was interesting because who people say they are and who people show you don't always add up.
Come on now.
Lots of people wanted to say, "Oh yeah, I'm a Christian," and I'm not saying they're not. Um, their
Right.
but their values and their checklist just didn't match my checklist. They,
Okay.
they did lots of things that that just weren't going to work for my witness. So,
I
it's
like how you said that was not going to work for my witness.
because I hate to say, oh, this is the way and this is the only way. So what I do is I take it from the standpoint of I'm a Christian and this is my witness, and I can't let you deviate me from where I fall with this witness. There's no carbon copy Christian. We're not all going to look the same. We're not all going to sound the same because we've all had different stories. But when it comes to whatever this is that you're doing, if it's going to separate me and tarnish my witness, I can't take a part in that.
And your girl is, excuse me, your woman is
Yeah.
definitely high finer. She also says this, which I know you're an awesome guy. And as we talk about loving her more,
Yes.
just even when it came to, whatever level of communication you may have started with someone,
Right.
we, regardless of whatever the reason is, God could just be like, no. You're like, I don't know, I know. How do you show respect and care and the love of God to that woman who you either used to date or you're like, okay, this is coming to an end? Because I know sometimes, especially if you've met people on the internet, it's easy to ghost people. And
Right.
even if you met them in person, I've had some one guys like, I just try to act in a way that make her mad so she will not feel bad about the breakup. What ways have you sort of loved the women who you've chosen not to pursue a relationship with or end one?
In everyone, I try to see my mother or my female cousins, because if I do, I'll always respect you and give you respect because I want them to have respect.
Yeah.
They're difficult conversations. Hey, this ain't working. I think you're crazy. We don't need to do this anymore. But you have to have those conversations. But there's a level of respect that's still due to that individual because that's somebody's mom, that's someone's sister, that's someone that someone else looks up to. So it's just common due. And I just feel that Black women, all women deserve respect. But Black women, of course, are near and dear to my heart. So they definitely deserve to be respected and treated in a way that everyone can say, good job.
I have to ask you this, especially now knowing that you worked in ministry, because I'm like, oh, single man, educated, got a job, work in ministry. I don't know if you have children or not, but just like, ooh, you ain't got no children? Woo, goodness. I know the sisters were like, I got some sweet potato bread. And I can't think about that movie. Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Way too excited. I'm much older than you guys. Where she's like talking about the food, and the guy was like, woo. Have you ever had a sister? Because I love how you definitely recognize the need to respect women like you would respect your mom. So even people who may not be the one for you, and this is just extra, you guys. You can pay me later. Have you ever had a sister who was really into you and you were not into her? And how did you respond in a way? And if you blew it, or you like, I could have done better, tell me the truth. Have you ever had a sister tell you, God said, you my husband, and you just like blinking? Like, I've been home all day. God ain't said nothing to me. He ain't called me. So have you ever experienced those? Because I think a lot of good men in the church, our ages, experience that.
Yeah. And who am I to tell you what God told you? But what I can speak on is what he didn't tell me. And you just politely say, that's not the message he gave me. Oh, he told you I'm going to be your husband. He didn't tell me that. And those conversations, I feel you just cut them right there because it's not going
to go. You don't entertain them. You don't exploit them. Like, oh, okay, let me see what I can get out of this situation.
You stop it there because that's still someone's heart that's involved. Well, there's a couple things because somehow they feel as though God has spoken to them and told them something that he didn't tell you. And who am I to say that God didn't tell you something? But I can just tell you he didn't tell me that. And it's best if we just move on to a different conversation or a different topic, or because this one's not going to go anywhere. Man, you better be polite about it. No, he didn't give me that message.
I love it, Nick. I love it. I just had to ask about that because, like I said, I definitely focus much more on the relationship between two people who love each other, and in your case, getting married, or in
Yeah.
yesterday's case, in already in marriage. But I think loving the opposite sex, also you see it in how they treat other women. Like, I have been on a date and I saw my date act really disrespectful
Mm-hmm.
to a female, whether it's the waiter or the valet or just something, especially if I feel it's a little aggressive, or the person, well, I hate people being rude, period.
Right.
But if it's a woman in particular, like saying something like, oh, that thought over there or whatever, and I'm just like, there's something in that. And then, of course, don't tell me you don't get along with your mom. I'm like, oh, Lord. Dating someone who's been married before and they have children, and
Mm-hmm.
you talk bad about their mother in front of me. Like, I imagine exes may have a sordid past and there's emotions, but I'm just getting to know you. Don't talk like you chose that woman. At one time, you must have loved her. And if you talk about her like that, it just,
Yeah.
So I think sometimes our brothers, and I'm not talking about color, men could sometimes miss it in sharing frustration, or maybe, they're real smooth and sweet with a really pretty girls, the ones they like, and with the other sister, they let the door hit her face. I've seen that too, and I'm just like in a church. I'm like, you don't treat women well. You may dote on your girlfriend, but you don't treat women well. Have you
Right.
seen some men do that? And I
Um,
was wondering, like, do men ever check each other, or
well,
is this sort of like, oh, bro, you do you?
no. True friends check one another. You may not do it in public in front of everyone, but what you do, you'll pull your friend to the side and you'll say, hey, that's not cool. Like, don't do that. Don't be that guy. I have two really good friends in my circle right now that if they'll call me out if something, I mean, I wouldn't do those things, but anything that's going on, they'll say, hey, that's not cool. Don't do that. And you learn how, when there's situations where, like, the baby mama and you're upset, you learn the right audience to vent that. A date isn't the place to do that. Your good friends
Yes.
are the ones to do that with, because they understand the entire situation, but your date doesn't really know you, and they definitely don't know the ex. So you can't choose the right place to share those stories and have one or two people in your life that you can be totally transparent with and vent to, but it stays between the two of you, and that's it.
Because all I could see was like, oh, future baby drama mama. I cannot.
Yeah.
I cannot. Wow. Okay. So I still have a little bit more time with you. I
Sure.
was trying to give you a break by digging in you and Sudi's business, but
Right.
so you guys were long distance for how long before, or officially in a relationship for how long before you got engaged, or officially got engaged?
Oh, wow. The relationship began March the 13th, and we were engaged July 18th.
Wow, come on now. Y'all better get y'all link fast on. God can move. All right? Can
Yeah,
move.
we can.
So when you guys even decided to get in a relationship, was
Mhm.
that like it for you? Like, was that sort of both you, like, we know we're dating for marriage, and if we're in this relationship, if the Lord continues to move, then, it wasn't like, oh my God, I can't believe he wants to get married. You
Oh,
guys already were
we,
clear with expectations, or is it not that simple?
it's not, well, we knew that we wanted that marriage was the end result. The timing, she was totally unexpected that I proposed the day that I proposed. And I feel like, because we'd had conversations about, married life and the future we want to have together, you can't just do it when she expects it, because that totally, okay, for me, that lessens the value in it. So even though we know this is what we want to do, receiving the ring and how I present it had to be something special and unsuspected for her, because we knew this is what we were going to do, but we had kind of figured like after a year of dating, we'd get engaged and work it out from there. But I just, when you know, and it was time. So I moved forward.
She said she loved the surprise. One of the things I also gathered from stalking y'all on Facebook, Brandy said, when you know, you know.
Yeah.
And Tara, hey Tara, yes, there's something special. One of the things I love about checking you guys out on Facebook and stalking you, I knew at one point she came to where you lived in Texas or somewhere, and it seemed to be like a party, and y'all had the cute shirts on and taking pictures. I was like, oh my God, Sudi. I love how, at least from just a stranger observing, you're so proud to be with Sudi, and you love her, and you seem like you love showing her in an outward way how much you love her. And I think unfortunately, some men, because of how they were raised, I don't know, they think it's so cool to sort of like sit back and act, I don't know, either nonchalant or like, I mean, you like, thank God I don't see it a lot in my circle, but I'll see people like, you're getting married. You don't have to be like Tom Cruise and jump on a couch, but this is your good thing. Like, almost like if someone asks you what you want at Taco Bell, you should be like, well, I want this, but I got my good thing. Like, you should be like just as exuberant. And I think that's such a great way to pour love out on the person you love. Why are you like that? Or do you find yourself sort of more free now?
I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a total private person. There are things that you share, and then there are things that, are just meant for the two of you. But I love the fact that she, to me, is an answered prayer. Okay. So I want to share that because it helps because I remember when I was searching for someone to love and love me, and it wasn't working out. So now that I have her, I don't mind sharing and letting everyone into a part of our relationship, and get to see what's going on and how we interact and things of the such. And also, it's a part of the ministry of us coming together. And it shows people that you can find love after 40. You can be a Christian and have a good time. You can be in a committed relationship and let the world know it's not a secret. We don't know. We never do reality TV, but we can share fun moments via social media.
So there's a few more topics. I think I told you I'll take 30 to 45 minutes, but if you don't mind me maybe taking a little bit more. And to whatever extent that you are, feel comfortable about talking, but also something I love about you all's relationship is, not to put it all on you, but I love that this is like a godly relationship. And for those Christians or those non-Christians who never chosen or had the opportunity or yet to have the opportunity to be in a godly relationship that is centered on the Lord, and you talk about, you're called to do, your purposes are called together. How do you, where do you pull your, or how do you model yourself in a way that continuously shows her God's love to you, especially in the way you treat her, your purity, like what you will and won't do, to whatever extent you want to share. Because I'm often surprised at how many people are like, what? Like you're like godly. You're godly from the waist up. I've had someone tell me, like, I'm godly from the waist up. But just, how is that modeled to you? And what are some things that you do in love to your soon-to-be wife in that regard?
Well, I never put her in a situation where what people see can call our witness into question. We're adults. Yeah, she comes to visit, but when she comes to Houston, Sudi stays at a hotel. I'm at my house.
Did y'all hear that?
Every time she comes.
Did y'all hear that?
Or when I go visit her, same situation. She's at home, I'm at a hotel. Because yes, we're adults and it's no one's business, but at the same time, I need to be able to stand on what I believe in. And I can say to you, yes, we love one another, but we're not having sex. You know, yes, we're adults and we could if we wanted to, but we're not having sex. We're
We're
upholding the
adults.
standard. We're not just talking about it, we're being about it. You know, it would be very easy to just say, well, yeah, it's late. Stay. No, that's not what we do. We'll sit up
I
to
mean,
the
there's songs about that. Won't you please stay for a little while?
right, right, right. And
It
so
is, but I agree with Tara. It is beautiful to honor her in such a way.
that's
And I
it.
know being, healthy adults with healthy drives, that has to, at times be a little bit more challenging than others. But
Exactly.
it's possible. Look in the camera and tell healthy, virile men and women it is possible to abstain from sex before marriage.
It's possible. It can be done. Every day is
I,
not easy, but it can be done.
and you guys, I wasn't super digging into his business, but I knew that he had just, like, literally just landed in South Carolina last night.
Right.
And he mentioned that he was in Somerville. And then as he was talking, I don't know if he caught himself, was like, let me make it clear, I'm at my house, Sudi's at her house. I was like, because, I mean, as a leader of a church, lovely people, we, especially when I was a part of a newer work as a senior minister and being over praise and worship, we had a number of people in premarital counseling, and majority of the couples were living together. And the ones that I knew of, they shared that they were abstaining, but because of finances, they're living together. And one ended up unfortunately having a too adventurous, like, Christmas Day, and then all of a sudden we're like pushing up nuptials, and I was
Uh-huh.
like, I have a friend who laughs at me, but I have to say, I ain't that saved. I mean, I'm just not that saved. Like, I need barricades, and I need, like, I can't pretend that, oh, we're just gonna sleep together in the same bed, and I'm not that saved.
No.
Jesus has not saved me that much, and I
There you
think
go.
it's really great, especially as Christian leaders, for you all to make that a standard. And y'all lived in Texas and South Carolina, and now you're getting married in a few months, but for you to still say, you know what? That's just not how we live. That's not our standard. And I just want to applaud you. I
Thank
think there was a meme I had a few years ago on my Facebook that said a man of God would lead you to the cross and not his bedroom. And I was
you. That's true. That's true. Yes.
I think that's a great way for you all to continue to keep God in the center. I think that's wonderful.
Thank you.
So if you guys have any questions that you want me to ask, I got them for a few more minutes. Because I'm just like, a part of me is like, well, tell me what you think about this, Nick.
Sure.
So, okay, so you guys are long distance. And
Mhm.
because you were long distance,
Right.
you don't have like the normal dating, the normal weekly going out. And then during COVID, who did, right?
Right. Right. Right.
And you talked about how communication was important. You guys would get on and you would text and then talk in the evening.
Yes.
What is it a small thing to, if you say, I'll call you back, or she says, oh, I gotta take this call, I'll call you back,
Mhm.
and doesn't call you back that night? Is that just something that, like, you should just, like, oh, okay, they fell asleep or whatever? Or could that, I don't know, does that irritate you? Did that ever happen? Or you guys are pretty
That
consistent?
happens a lot for me. Like people call and I'm gonna call you. So I've learned to not say, I'm gonna call you back in 5 minutes, or I'm gonna call you right back. I'll say, oh, I'll call you later. Because to me, that frees it up. So if something happens and whatever, and I fall asleep pretty easy. And now that we know each other, she knows, well, if he doesn't call back, he fell asleep.
So
But
that's not a sign that someone's not just that into you. That just
not
could
at all.
be a
No,
human thing. So, okay, ladies, understand he's not loving you less
no.
just because he fell asleep and didn't call you back, or that
Right.
you're not a priority because you think if you were a priority, that person would move heaven and earth to do that. Okay. I'm
Right.
just helping somebody out, friends I know.
Yes.
Um, So you mentioned that you knew, or you guys solidified that you were in a relationship and in a discussion where you were really broken and you were going before the Lord. I
Yes.
want to talk about that a little bit
Okay.
in those broken areas. So I don't know if I want to say, do you have any advice? But I think one of the things about relationships and communication, especially in those areas that are really, really sensitive,
Right.
even if I open up to you this one time, if you
Mhm.
go back to it, like sort of let me lead you there, because it's not like that one conversation is just wrapped up.
Right.
Do you find, and it may have now sound like I shifted subjects, but do you find like in any area that you are, I won't say sensitive, but it's a very sensitive area, like it needs to be taken care of well,
Right.
that you have trusted Sudi
Hmm.
to help you with, and because that area is sensitive sometimes, and sometimes when you may enter in, she may be feeling it that day, like, yeah, thank you, baby. And other times she may be like, not today. Or opposite. You're like, honey, help me with this, and I'm just gonna throw something out there. Money. I need to be better with budgeting my money,
Right.
and like on this day, she's like, baby, you need to, well, maybe not buy that jacket. And then
Right.
they're like, they thank you so much because we have financial goals. And then it's like after a really big thing, and maybe you really want something. And at that moment, if she says, babe, you're like, listen, or you may not say anything, but you get offended. How do you deal with that without like blocking someone out? And I'm not thinking you're an expert, but
Oh, no.
since you shared that you guys were like, you're on the altar when they're like, yeah, you be my girlfriend. Do you allow each other sort of room to help each other out? And how do you deal with moments when that person may want to, like, they need a moment or shut you out? How
Mhm.
have you been able to love her through that? If you
You,
experience that, y'all may
yeah,
not.
you always remember what brought you together. And we came together so that we could love one another and we can grow together. So in coming together and growing together, there are going to be moments of like uncomfortable situations or scenarios, but we usually start them off with this one phrase, transparent moment. And I know when I hear that or read that, and she knows when she hears that or reads that, I'm about to tell you something that's kind of on my sleeve, kind of on my shoulder. I'm real open right now. So hear me. And that's how we start, and you understand. So even if I'm having a bad day, if she says transparent moment, I know this is something I need to pay attention to, focus on, and make sure that I'm receiving what she says, and vice versa. When it's things that are on my back and I'm like, oh, as a man, this is hard to talk to her about, I do the same thing. And we just know, tune everything else out and focus on this right now, because this is delicate, but I need you to understand it. So that's what works for us.
Wow, I love that transparent moment. So that's like, okay, don't trip about what I'm about to say. Listen,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
that's good. That's less reactionary than what's wrong, nothing. I mean, not that I ever do anything like that, but I do know some people who do that um,
Yes.
when they feel a little bit like, okay. So that
Right.
is so great. I want to talk about, okay, Tara. She said communication is key. Yes. I want to talk really quickly about your book,
Yeah.
and just the ways you express yourself to the world, and how do you find your purpose, connecting with Sudi. I keep wanting to say your wife, your fiance's purpose.
Yeah.
And I wanted everybody to know about this book because I think they can be encouraged by it. And
Yeah.
then before I leave, I want to just ask, as two people who work in ministry, and I didn't know Sudi preached. I didn't know she preached
Yes, she
until
does.
like recently. Hey, you preach. How you guys may see yourself encouraging each other in that, how you're loving her in that,
Yeah.
especially for those who may be interested in dating someone who's a female minister, but they're like, how could I be the head, or how would we be in competition? So I want to sort of end on those two things, but tell them about your book. And I'm gonna put you full screen real quick,
Sure.
but I haven't gone anywhere, okay?
Okay.
So
Um,
go ahead, Nick, tell us about your book.
All right. My book is The Push Project. And The Push Project is a book of affirmations centered around the thought, I am ideas to share with yourself, and you are ideas to give to other individuals. We all need encouragement from time to time. We all need something to help us through. Like, exactly, perfect example would be with the pandemic. We all need to find our praise in the midst of the pandemic. So The Push Project is a book that's going to push you deeper into your purpose through the power of positive affirmations. It's an easy read so that you can read it in the morning, give you a thought for the day to get you through that day, and then also give you thoughts to share with other individuals. It's all about winning together. And the Push Project will help you push yourself into your greatness, push yourself into a deeper level. And it was a chance for me to be transparent and understand that everything I've gone through in my life wasn't just by chance, but those were things to help me come through so that I can encourage and uplift and pour that out into other individuals.
I love it. And when did you write this book?
April of 2020. So the book came out in the midst
Okay,
of.
so while you falling in love and all this stuff, you wrote a book.
In the midst of all of that, and Sudi helped me with the editing of the book as well.
Come on now.
Yeah.
The Push Project by Nick Heyward. Let me ask, how can people get this book?
It's on Amazon. So you can search it on Amazon, The Push Project by Nicholas Heyward, or reach out to me in email, nicholasnhayward@gmail.com. I'll be happy to send you an autographed copy as well.
Amen. You know, one thing I loved, and I just got dark in here. One thing I loved when I was interviewing Sudi, it was like you were her publicist. You kept quoting where her book was and stuff. And I'm like, who is this dude? I'm like, okay, he likes her. Okay.
Yes.
Oh gosh. Okay. I'm trying to plug up my computer, but maybe the Holy Spirit's just saying, okay, he'll wrap it up. I don't want it to end on us. I'm sort of liking it better without a, sometimes me chocolate girls be like, I need light. You can't see me.
Right.
So I think that's wonderful. Congratulations on your book. You just birthing and creating all these kind of things. And it'll be part, we definitely want to say Sudi has a wonderful book as well.
Yes,
Tell a little bit about your woman's book. She was pushing yours during her interview.
She definitely did. Sudi wrote a book as well as a devotional, and it tells you about a prayer a day keeps the devil away. So it's a really good book. I'm amazed at how the two books parallel each other. So we were both writing, things that help us heal ourselves, but also things to share with the world. But Sudi's book is definitely Bible-based. Positive thoughts, great thoughts is not just for women, but men and women as well. So excellent work. And if you know Sudi, when you read the book, you hear her voice. Well, I hear her voice, I should say, because it's definitely from her heart.
Wow. So my last question, because like I said, I'm so appreciative, and I just like, oh my gosh, I've gotten to see why and how much Sudi was wise and connecting with you in the Facebook group, y'all. Come on now, believe God. You got Lent. You can start Wednesday. You both not only work in ministry, but you're writing books to build the kingdom.
Yes.
Maybe simply at first, when you found out that she was also a minister, particularly one that had a public life, because public life as a speaker, did you have any hesitation that, like, I don't know if that's someone that I would? Okay. How do you find yourself loving her in her call in ministry, especially if you've had to deal with any questions from outsiders, or even deal with, like, I got to sell it myself, I'm okay with this or that, or maybe you like, listen, I'm used to this, have no growth there, no need.
I see God in her, and I see God in her work. So therefore, when it comes to the spiritual side of our relationship, I don't think of it as Nick and Sudi. I think of it as she's a vessel, and so am I. So we're empty of self, and we're filled with the Spirit. And the Spirit should recognize the Spirit. So whatever she's doing, I can easily support her because I see the God in it. And by seeing God
in me, yes.
It's easy to support and just stand beside her. I'm overjoyed when I see her preaching and just doing many great works, because it shows that God is real and God is moving, and He's everywhere. And this is the individual that is going to be my wife, and we've come together, and God is in it. God is the center of it. So it's a beautiful thing.
Well, I tell you, I'm not going to do like a lot of people probably are going to do, because one thing I know, when you're leaders, everybody thinks they're closer to you than they are.
Right.
So if I'm not invited to the nuptials in October, just please know that you'll still get a gift from me. I'm encouraged by your love for her. I'm
Thank you.
encouraged by her love for you. I'm encouraged mostly by your love for God and trusting God to bring you that right person at the right time, and to not waste time and not to defraud each other. And at the end of the day, God is glorified. And we didn't get to talk a lot about how you thought she may be coming to Texas and then God moved it where you're going back to South Carolina. All of that will probably be in y'all first duo book about love and, second chances, all that kind of stuff. Thank you so, so very much. My birthday's on Valentine's Day. But
Oh,
Sudi,
wow.
I will let you share in this Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, Sudi. From me to you, from your hubby to be to you, you're just a great woman. Because of you, you brought this conversation together.
Yes.
Nick, thank you, thank you, thank you. hopeMORE family, please check his book out, The Push Project by Nick Heyward. And this is the last time I'm talking about this book before I get it. I'm gonna have to get this book. I'm gonna put y'all books side by side, be like the Heyward Incorporated, because I can see that this is gonna be a writing, preaching, praising family.
Amen.
I'm so excited. I'm so I knew Sudi as a little kid, and in my mind, she's always a little kid, and she's grown up, and she's fully grown and fully appreciative of what God is doing in her life. And she's also my body goals. The girl is like working out like crazy, and it wasn't a quick process, but consistent. And she's encouraged me, and your love story encourages me. I'm just like, oh God, people are still doing it the right way, and they're still finding each other. And, it's encouraging. I get excited. So thank you so much, hopeMORE family. I know you're giving them a hand clap wherever you are. Just know that I appreciate you watching today. Have a great Valentine's Day weekend. Whoever you love, show them love. It doesn't have to be romantic love, but if you are in a relationship, come on now. You can handwrite a poem. You should show them some kind of love. And maybe it's just my birthday's Valentine's Day, so I think the whole world should celebrate. But don't be afraid to express your love. Do not be afraid to express your love. And ladies, let them love you, okay? Let them love you.
You're worth
it. Thank you so much, hopeMORE family. I love you, and I mean it. Bye-bye. Thank you so much. See you next Wednesday. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.